Salt Lake City police gave chase to a man wanted for a New Year's Day arson. That individual then led officers on a high-speed chase through multiple counties. Police spokesman Brent Weisberg.
The pursuit ended after the suspect crashed his car and the vehicle rolled. There was, at that point, an exchange of gunfire with officers and what we believe with the suspect. The suspect has died on scene.
Inside the vehicle, body armor and multiple guns. It's a seven-figure fine for JetBlue. First time an airline's been held accountable for an unrealistic flight schedule.
From June of 2022 to November of 2023, the federal government claims JetBlue operated 4 chronically delayed routes between New York and Raleigh-Durham, Fort Lauderdale and Orlando, Orlando and New York, and Fort Lauderdale and Windsor Locks, Connecticut. Each was chronically delayed for months, and despite warnings from the Department of Transportation, JetBlue allegedly kept operating the flights delayed. Now the DOT is fining JetBlue $2 million for operating an unrealistic flight schedule. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Michigan officials confirmed that human remains discovered by hunters near the site of the Electric Music Festival are those of Kevin Graves, who vanished from the festival in 2018 after some friction with his girlfriend. Investigators say foul play is not suspected in that death of Kevin Graves. Richard Cantu, ABC News.
This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. Over the past 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities, dignitaries, and individuals worldwide. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star and give the ultimate Christmas gift. The star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333 to give the brightest gift. That's 800-282-3333.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
I'm Will Feelright with your KVNU News update. This hour it's brought to you by Cardall's Insulation. Well, former Utah State Deputy Athletics Director Jerry Bovee has filed a lawsuit against the school, claiming that Athletic Director Diana Sabo was hostile and mistreated him in professional settings. Bovee was fired back in July for what USU called violations of university policies related to reporting of sexual and domestic violence. The Salt Lake Tribune reporting that the lawsuit filed last month in First District Court also alleges that Bovee filed a formal grievance about his firing, but that USU failed to follow its procedures. Now, the suit claims that he is owed more than $300,000 in back pay and damages. Now, Bovee claims that at least some of the hostility was likely because he held a revered position in the community and the fact that many donors and supporters were displeased that Sabo was named the athletic director instead of him. Now, Utah State University has not commented on this latest lawsuit. Well, coming up, an officer fatally shoots a man believed to have killed his parents in West Valley. That story on the way as we check your weather forecast. Clouds have come in this afternoon, and that's going to bring a chance of rain and snow as we head into the overnight hours. As temperatures have been in the mid-40s today, tonight will drop into the mid to low 30s, and then tomorrow, it's not going to change much as we're going to see rain and snow throughout the day and into Sunday. Highs tomorrow expected to be around 36. Lows expected to get down into the high 20s. And this storm expected to last through Monday and then bring us some colder temperatures for next week as well. Well, 3 people are dead after police responded to a 911 call at a West Valley City home, including a suspect who was shot by police after allegedly killing his parents. Officers responded to the home at around 5:15 on Wednesday, where they discovered the bodies of 2 adults inside, identified by police as a married couple who lived at the home. Now, during the response, authorities say they encountered their adult son, who also lived at the residence. Now, he was identified as a suspect in their deaths. During the encounter, an officer fired at the suspect, killing him. A critical incident investigation is now underway. And cross-border governing bodies, including the state of Idaho, are taking steps to address a mining pollution issue coming from Canada. Now, coal mining pollution in the Kootenai River has flowed to Montana for more than a century and impacted water quality hundreds of miles downstream. Selenium is the biggest concern. Now, it can harm fish and other wildlife in high concentrations. Now, Tom McDonald, who is with the tribes, the Salish and Kootenai tribes, are among those who are leading efforts to try to fight the pollution.
It's just elevated every year, and they keep expanding and getting bigger, and the problem keeps getting worse, and it keeps moving downstream. It's affected the watercourse in the Kootenai River for nearly 400 miles into Montana and Idaho, and then back up into Canada.
Now, the International Joint Commission settles boundary water differences between the U.S. and Canada. It has announced the formation of a governance body to address pollution in the Kootenai River. The body will set up a cleanup plan over the next several years. We'll have another check of local news coming up at the bottom of the hour. I'm Will Feelwright with your KVNU News Update.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keith Nelson, board-certified, fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeon, and I want to restore your active, pain-free life. I've been an innovator in the treatment of knee pain caused by arthritis and sports injuries for 27 years. I'm the only surgeon in northern Utah to offer Omnibotics, a robotic-assisted knee replacement for your arthritic knee, which has a 97% patient satisfaction rate. Don't live with your knee pain another day. Visit drkeithnelsonortho.com. That's drkeithnelsonortho.com.
Dr. Nelson accepts most insurances, including select health plans.
Local talk. Afternoons at 4 with For the People.
Your family's health and wellness is always the Sports Academy's top priority. The Sports Academy offers the best swimming, tennis, and tumbling lessons year-round. Small group or private lessons taught by certified coaches will teach your kids life skills, build self-confidence, and keep them active during these cold winter months. Sign up online at sportsacademy.com for year-round swimming, tennis, and tumbling lessons. The Sports Academy, your club, your results, your life.
Do you know a champion in our community? Nominate them for the KVNU Above and Beyond Salute. Every Friday morning at 8:30, we'll spotlight a firefighter, law enforcement officer, healthcare worker, or other deserving individual and give them a $40 gift card to Firehouse Subs. Submit your nominations for the Above and Beyond Salute by visiting kvnutalk.com. Help us recognize the champions in our communities. The Above and Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs on News Talk KVNU, the voice of Northern Utah.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People Movie Show. Headed into the second hour of today's movie show with Andy Morgan here in the studio. We've been recapping 2024. We've been talking about the future of movie theaters and bad hot takes in 2020 and 21, where everyone was predicting theaters would no longer be a thing, and yet here they are.
I think there's going to be a lot more. Well, let me tell you, to put a kind of a period on our conversation. I think you're still going to see a lot of this happening. There's going to be things that hit streaming where we're like, why didn't you put that in the theater? And there's going to be things that go to the theater that would be like, why didn't you put that in streaming? I do think that things are going to be more spread out. James Gunn brought up a really good point over the holidays when people were complaining about moving Batman to 2027. And he was like, look, man, like Alien came out in 78? Or 79, one of the two. Aliens came out in 1986. You know what I mean? Like this whole year, we've kind of been spoiled with this. Like it's a show, then 2 years later, or a show and a year later, right? That's just, I don't think it's sustainable anymore. I think I actually think too, with the crossover with people doing shows on streaming plus movies, people want to have careers, and I just don't think you're going to see this constant. So I think it's going to be a good thing. That said, really quick, because I think the listeners today also probably want to know what is playing if you want to go see a movie. I
think everyone wants to know if they should see Nosferatu.
Yeah, there's not a lot brand new in theaters this weekend.
Not in Logan.
No. If you were heading over to the University Theater, Nosferatu, as Jason just mentioned, is playing. That came out on Christmas Day. That was one of my favorite movies of the year. Very creepy.
I think we should tell everyone, though, this is being referred to as Egger's weirdest movie. And if you've seen any of his other stuff,
I would say, I mean,
this might not be for you.
Well, and it's definitely not as weird. I don't think it's his weirdest. Lighthouse is probably his weirdest. Nosferatu is the closest thing to The Witch, I think. It is a little bit more mainstream,
atmospheric.
But again, it's just it's creepy.
So what I loved about The Witch is it was creepy, and then you kind of reflect on the movie after or on a second viewing and think there really wasn't that much scary in it.
No,
at all. But you're
this.
tense the whole. Is it like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I enjoy that kind of horror movie.
Yeah. We also have Mufasa, The Lion King. That was Barry Jenkins from Moonlight. That's in theaters. That's doing really well. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which actually has really good reviews.
That's kind of surprised me.
Kraven the Hunter, which is not doing well. Sony just can't buy a bucket at this point. Moana 2 is in theaters. That has done really well as well. Wicked is also still in theaters. That's out playing at the University at Providence. Not much different as far as Moana, Wicked, Mufasa, Sonic. But there are two other movies. The Fire Inside. This is a Amazon MGM kind of movie. You may be able to stream this at a later date. But
I would guess.
Yeah, this is a good movie. It didn't quite make my top movies of the year, but it's
worth seeing.
Yeah, it's definitely worth seeing. There's also another movie. I don't know why I just laughed when I said this. It's Homestead. I laughed, you sighed. It's this crew of actors
these are movies for people who played too much Call of Duty. And now they're middle-aged and bored.
Well, but
but they want those fantasies kept alive.
Somebody's going to get mad when I say this, but I think the theme with Angel Studios is they're also like, hey, we need some recognizable actor faces, so let's go find those people that are like, one time I was asked to kiss a woman in a movie, and I said no, and then I was blacklisted. And everyone's like, you weren't blacklisted, bro.
The victim, the Kevin Sorbos.
This is pretty much everyone in Homestead has been in Yellowstone at some point.
It's just not that you weren't good.
I mean, actually,
maybe that was it. Hercules.
No, it's actually kind of sad. Neil McDonough, who's in this, I feel like has been in a lot of.
No, that's what surprised me. He is good, actually.
Yeah, he's a great villain. He's just got that villain face.
I feel like Angel Studios could actually do something if they would because this to me looks like Red Dawn.
It is. It's a little bit Red Dawn.
But on a farm, and there's no Russians. And
yeah. No, I mean, I'm not, that's not me criticizing Angel Studios. It just, what I'm saying is it's formulaic.
That sound of.
It's formulaic a little bit.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Angel Studios was the studio behind the Operation Underground Railroad movie. That then right after it came out, all the rest came out, and it turns out there was very little factual about his story, and he was kind of a creeper too, allegedly. And
I don't know about allegedly. I've read that. Yeah, I've read Tim Ballard's texts.
His own response to some of the allegations has been
if he said
creepy in and of itself.
If he said those texts to my wife, I would be concerned.
Yeah. So Angel Studios came out of the gate with their first big movie, and it just
did really well.
It
made
did
a lot
really
of money.
Well, and then a month later, everyone's like, "Oh, but none of it was true." Tim Ballard made it all up,
and there was allegations.
So they're trying to dig out of that.
People were going into the theater, and they were like, "Hey."
Yeah, you could
buy tickets. If this is making a ton of money, why am I in here?
You could buy tickets for friends.
Or why is
that was the whole campaign.
Yeah, why is it sold out? Conservative groups were buying theaters out even though nobody was there.
Just so the ticket sales would be high. And
and
to be fair, Angel Studios was not a part of any of this. They just made the movie. And they thought it was a true story when they made it.
Yeah,
why would he lie?
They know.
Well, it turns out
they know their audience.
Had a few reasons.
They know their audience.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is there is an audience for this type of thing, but they just need to be a little more responsible about how they're putting them out there.
And I know we're going to talk about the best of 2024, but I just want to give people kind of a little bit of a heads up of kind of what's coming in the next
because this
month.
Is a bit of a lull before
this is
long stretch of new stuff.
This month actually works out really well for me because I see a lot of movies at the end of the year, and it just gets sometimes you do get a little bit of an overload.
A really quick thing. Did you talk about the War of the Rohirrim?
Well, we talked about that.
How is that doing?
That didn't do well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's now streaming.
I couldn't find the box office numbers.
Yeah, you can check that out.
It's already streaming.
The big movies coming in January are there's Flight Risk at the end of January with Mark Wahlberg playing a villain, and that's Mel Gibson directing, which I love how they're like, Mel Gibson, problematic. Let's not say his name. So they'll be like, from the director of Braveheart. And
some guy,
yeah. There's another scary movie from Leigh Whannell, Wolfman, that's coming out January 17th.
I like what Leigh Whannell
Yeah,
films.
he did Invisible Man.
I saw a trailer for that, and it looked kind of...
I'm excited.
But Leigh Whannell, I'd go see it, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, I think it looks good. Then there's a movie that's it was released last month in limited release. It's called September 5th. This is like the kind of live unfolding of events during the Munich Olympics when the athletes were taken hostage, and kind of how this sports crew sort of had to transition to a news crew very fast.
Really?
Yeah. And that got some nominations in our group.
That's very nice.
Yeah. Very good movie. January 17th, wide.
Okay.
And then a couple others. Den of Thieves 2, which Jason, I knew you did not know you wanted, but you will get.
You know what? We should start the year with a Gerard Butler vehicle. I said to myself.
Gerard Butler, guns, Ice Cube's son.
Discount Liam Neeson.
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
That's what I call him.
I call him Portly Neeson.
That works too.
That's not very nice.
Chunky Neeson.
It's a Ben and Jerry's flavor. Anyway, One of Them Days is another movie. I can't really figure out what that is. I feel like that's it feels like a reimagining of that movie Friday with Chris Tucker.
Yeah,
and
the cover or the poster even looks Friday and barbershop-y.
Also, Megaplex will be doing different anniversary things all through the month. By the way, this is not sponsored content, so I'm just telling you, if you were really waiting for all the Twilight Marathon,
be sure to order your giant book of popcorn when you get your tickets.
That's happening in January. Also,
do you know what the Secret
Goonies
Cinema
40th
thing? Oh yeah, I saw that 40th anniversary end of the month, right?
Yeah, that is a.
Do you know what the Secret Cinema thing that Megaplex is doing is? There are these dates through January, and just
they surprise you.
Oh, that seems. Who's doing that?
I got to be honest.
Buy a ticket just to see who else is there.
Here's what I'd say. January is like kind of this the deep breath before the plunge, because when we hit February, there's a lot of stuff coming. There's a lot. We've got Captain America: Brave New World, Paddington, The Monkey. Just a lot of stuff, and as we roll into March and April, it just feels like it's just crazy. So
that is The Monkey based on a Stephen King story, right?
Yes, and from Osgood Perkins, who made a name for himself with Longlegs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's creepy.
You should check it out. He posted, I think it's either on YouTube or maybe it was on Twitter. He posted a little holiday. He said, "Here's a little clip," and they played quite a bit of this clip. And then right when it's kind of going to hit to the part where you go like the climax, he's like, and that's enough. He's like,
really?
We'll see you in February. That's actually pretty
funny.
clever. Yeah. But let's take a step back.
Okay.
Let's take a step back in time, Jason, just you and me. Let's get the DeLorean. Let's go back to 2024. Let's start at the beginning of the year. Okay. Your future's not written, Jason. That's what Doc Brown would say. He's like,
that's true.
Who knows what's going to happen? We're going back in time, you and me, in the DeLorean, the movie DeLorean. So my first favorite movie of the year that made my top 10 list for sure was Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
I didn't love the way it ended, but it had so many other amazing things in it that it's hard not to give that movie.
It was very good.
Straight up A. I mean, again, acting, action, it was just great. It's just great.
I thought
I love Dune.
It was, they did it well. That was always going to be the slower, more difficult part of the story, the second movie. But they did it really well, and they somehow made it an action movie still. even though there's very little action in that part of the book.
There's a couple others that I'd like to throw out that kind of bookmarked Dune. And these didn't get A's from me. I'm going to focus on the A's, but as we go through the year, I do want to throw out some kind of B's and B pluses that were surprises to me. The kind of movie that, you and I always talk about where you're like, well, I don't think I'm going to go buy that on physical media.
Yeah.
But, you flip on the TV one day and you're like, oh, look, it's The Beekeeper.
Yeah.
And that was actually one I wanted to point out is
those end up becoming favorite. A Few Good Men is like that for me. I saw it in theaters. It was just good. It was okay. But now every time I catch that, I if I have time, I finish it.
Yeah.
It's just a good movie.
Yeah.
And
you're like, oh, look, it's Few Good Men. I guess I'll sit down and watch. Yeah. The Beekeeper was a movie like that for me. That was Jason Statham. And it was the kid that played PETA from The Hunger Games, playing a guy that you were like, man, I can't wait till that kid gets his butt kicked by Jason
he was
Statham.
so unlikable on purpose.
Yeah, there was some felt like some modern ties to that, but again, I thought it was a pretty decent movie. Another one that came out after Dune Part 2 that I really liked, that I gave a B to, was a movie called Late Night with the Devil. I don't know if you saw this. There were some corny things about it that made it.
That creeped me out.
But it was I thought it was, I like when somebody takes.
Completely forgot about that movie.
Yeah, if you have a chance to see that, check it out. My next movie that I gave an A to as we, cruise through the year was a movie called Civil War. That was one of my favorites of the year. This is
another one that was done really well.
Yeah,
I went in expecting that to just be awful.
I loved kind of there was things I had criticisms of it a little bit, but it wasn't enough to drop it from the A level for me. I kind of felt at one point like it was kind of like the Universal Studios tour of Civil War America. And I'm not, by the way, for the listeners, we're not talking about 1860s Civil War. We're talking about an imagining of a future Civil War, which one of the things I thought was the most hilarious in the movie was that it was Texas and California against everyone else, like of all those strange things.
I think that was supposed to throw everybody off because
you can't.
The director
Texas is not solid red, but red.
And the director was so worried that it would just become that everybody would see the movie and think that he was making a political statement.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to make a political statement, and he does.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell anybody on the show what the part is that tells you, because he does slip one little one in. It's one little comment that's made, and the minute if you follow politics closely that year, there's one little comment, and I'm like, oh, I know who the bad guys were. But otherwise, he avoids all partisan references in any way, because his point is that, all the systems and institutions that we kind of, from your city, county, and state and federal governments and police forces and fire departments and all this stuff, it's actually pretty fragile.
It is.
And that was kind of the point of the movie. And that's why I really liked it.
Yeah, I agree. That was one of my favorites. After that, there's one that, again, bookend between, or squished between a couple A's that I gave, was another movie called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. I don't know if you remember this or not. This is a Guy Ritchie.
I actually just barely saw this.
Yeah,
it's on Amazon right now.
Guy Ritchie movie, Henry Cavill, I almost said Alan Rickman. Anyway, just kind of a
really funny Family Guy cutaway.
Yeah, just kind of a plucky.
Hello, Alan Rickman.
World War II kind of heist / action. I thought it was really well done.
It was fun.
Yeah, fun. That's a great way to describe it. Fun. The two movies I gave A's to after that were The Fall Guy. We've talked about this relentlessly on this show. That
if you haven't seen that, see it.
No, that movie got. It's just the underperforming of that. I just do not understand.
It had to be timing, but I don't understand that either. But that's the only thing I could think of. It was well done. It was very funny. It was funnier than Barbie.
I mean, it was,
and Barbie was huge the year before.
It's fast paced. It's funny. It's got action. I mean, it's got
an action movie with a good ending.
It's got two magnetic leads in Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt,
and kind of a clever plot.
It's got romance. I was really, really surprised at how that didn't do well. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
And I was like, is it just, you and I, we grew up with the Fall Guy TV show with Lee Majors and Heather Thomas.
Yeah.
So did people miss that? Should they have marketed that better? I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I feel like the TV show was too niche to really be a marketing point. But Ryan Gosling should have been, and the story should have been, because it was a clever plot, and really surprised that one wasn't a huge blockbuster.
Another movie that I saw right after that, The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I kind of made a joke about this earlier. I said that no one asked for.
Yeah.
But it's really hard.
Some of us actually think they should be outlawed.
Yeah. That was something I could not.
I'm pretty much
I'm not going to go watch
anti-talking apes.
I can't.
That's my general movie rule.
I can't necessarily, I'm not going to buy it. I probably won't see it again. But from just top to bottom, the craftsmanship, the acting that just went into that. I mean, it was engaging. It was good. Again, I'm not a huge Planet of the Apes fan. That's not my jam. But it was. I couldn't, in good conscience, not give it an A. I mean, it was a well-made movie. I
don't know why this reminded me, but as a segue to the news, Nate Bargatze has a new Netflix special. I don't know why I find this guy funny. He's
hilarious.
He's known as a clean comedian.
He's self-depreciating. That's what makes him funny.
Well, and his specials would at worst be rated PG.
Yeah.
His first one would be G. Funniest routine about a dead horse ever by a comedian in his old one. But this new one, he has this thing where he talks about how things have changed over the years. And he talks about how when he was little, he went to a county fair and men could pay to fight an orangutan. And that's his example of how things have changed throughout his life. Could you imagine that today is how he starts the bit? But I don't know why that just, when you brought Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I just thought of that.
Is his new comedy special on Amazon?
Netflix.
Yeah,
it's on Netflix, and it's called Your Friend, Nate Bargatze. It's really short, though. It's like 45 minutes long.
I'm actually going to see him in concert. In concert? He's going to sing.
Yeah. He probably could.
Probably could. I think you're right.
You're listening. I just pictured him singing. You're listening to the For the People movie show, recapping 2024, also looking ahead at 2025. Dan, we have not talked about Tron Ares yet. That's October of 2025, so that's way out there.
Yeah, hold your horses, Dan.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll be back with more after this look at the news with KVNU's Will Feel Right.
Well, thank you, Jason. A 21-year-old Logan man has been arrested for allegedly raping a woman this past fall, claiming he couldn't stop himself, according to law enforcement. Ashton Cooper Robinski was booked Tuesday into the Cache County Jail. Now, according to an arrest affidavit, Logan City police officers were called to investigate a delayed sexual assault that happened back on October 31st. The alleged victim claimed that Robinski, whom she had previously been in a relationship with, had sexually assaulted her while at his home September 18th. The woman explained how Robinski had forced himself on her, pinning her leg and arm down, and then began molesting her as she reportedly told him no and to stop. The alleged victim said that Robinski then reportedly apologized after the incident, stating that he shouldn't have done what he did. She also provided officers with Snapchat messages corroborating her account of what happened. Now, on December 31st, police questioned Robinski. He reportedly admitted that what he did was wrong. He stated that he could not control himself and was scared now for what he did. Jail records showed Robinski was booked on suspicion of object rape, a first-degree felony, and 2 counts of forcible sexual abuse, a second-degree felony. And crowbars, stolen credit cards, and thousands in fraudulent charges. That was what several Farmington business owners discovered after a string of brazen break-ins rocked their usually quiet community over the holiday weekend. Randy Pettit walked into his office at Domain Systems to find a mess of splintered wood and mangled metal. The burglars had systematically pried open every locked drawer and cabinet in the building on December 28th. Now, according to Pettit, the thieves knew exactly what they wanted. They took credit cards, checks, and anything else they could easily carry. Now, down the street, police took another report of a similar crime. Beyond the damages to the cost of the building, though, Pettit says the crooks wasted no time using their stolen credit cards. Their shopping spree, though, may be their undoing, as security cameras caught clear shots of the suspects at multiple locations. And police have arrested a suspect in connection to an incident in Kaysville where a camera was found in a tanning room of a local gym. Kevin D. Peterson, a 68-year-old, was arrested on 33 charges of voyeurism and criminal trespass. Now, Kaysville police said they were told that a camera was found at the Kaysville Vasa Fitness Center. Court documents state that that camera was located in the tanning room. Investigators were able to locate the camera's IP logs through the gym's Wi-Fi and found that it was connected on December 9th through the 11th. During that time, police positively identified the suspect using surveillance footage, installing the camera, and then later leaving to use his phone. Investigators believe to gain access to Wi-Fi at the same time the camera was first connected to the network. Now, investigators also discovered that during that period, 33 individuals used the tanning room while the camera was used. Now, Peterson was booked into jail on a $5,000 bail. Well, looking at clouds to continue through the rest of the afternoon and into tonight, as these clouds are going to be bringing us some rain and snow overnight tonight into tomorrow, as we're going to see temperatures only in the mid-30s through the weekend and then low 30s for next week. I'm Will Feelwright for KVNU News.
ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. In the wake of the deadly truck attack in New Orleans, concern that someone will try to repeat it.
The FBI and the Department of Homeland Security sent out a bulletin to 18,000 law enforcement agencies, basically out of an abundance of caution, telling them be on the lookout for copycats. They're very concerned that people will be motivated by what they saw and try to act out on their own.
ABC's Pierre Thomas. A New York City judge ordered President-elect Trump to be in court in person or virtually next Friday to be sentenced on 34 felony counts in the business fraud hush money case, the judge indicating there will be no prison time. House Speaker Mike Johnson was a surprise first ballot winner in his bid to remain as Speaker. A lot less drama in the Senate, where South Dakota's John Thune has been elected Majority Leader, succeeding Charles Schumer after Republicans took control of the U.S. Senate. This is ABC News.
The colder weather is here. Are your quilts and blankets looking dingy? Is your winter coat or jacket dirty enough to stand in the corner just by itself? Well, go to Mount Logan Laundry. It'll take no time at all to freshen up everything. They have the 55 and 80-pound washers, the biggest around, and great big dryers, too, and it costs a whole lot less than dry cleaning. Free Wi-Fi and drop-off service. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town, on the corner of 5th East, 9th North, and Logan, or in Brigham at 1st East, 7th South. Mount Logan Laundry. Is one of your New Year's resolutions to keep the house cleaner? Have you considered having your air ducts cleaned? A clean air system can cut down on surface dust, improve air quality, and get rid of that winter shut-in smell. If you're interested in getting a free quote, call the Duct Hunter at 435-770-4813.
We are the Duct Hunter. Breathe better, save money, protect your home. We are the Duct Hunter.
I recently had a meeting with a business owner that had his business insurance with one agent, his auto with another, and work comp with the state. Sounds confusing, right? This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance. This individual loved the idea of a one-stop shop and saved hundreds of dollars by putting his insurance policies under one roof. Let Quality First be the one-stop shop for your insurance needs. Give us a call today, 435-752-0101.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
The Above and Beyond Salute.
Hello.
Yeah, is Casey Walton there?
Yes, sir.
Someone told us how you're a counselor at Greenville Elementary. You've done everything from filling in for the principal to helping out the secretaries and the teachers, even wiping down the tables at lunchtime. And they obviously noticed the impact that you have had, and we wanted to recognize the impact that you've had.
That's really nice.
How about a $40 gift card to Firehouse Subs for being such an incredible person?
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
The Above and Beyond Salute on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to the For the People Movie Show with Andy Morgan here in the studio, recapping 2024, looking ahead at 2025, part 2 of us doing this, by the way, because there was so much in 2024. And I think you made it up to like July in your A's and B's. And last week we did the avoid list.
Yeah.
So if you missed that, grab the podcast. But,
Yeah.
this week we're doing the things you should have seen.
So right now in time, just so you know where we are, we're in May. That's where we are, Jason.
I thought we made it to July. Sorry.
No, we're good. Okay. We're in May.
We can do it.
It's not too hot, not too cool. Not sweltering yet. Yeah, the next movie I gave an A to was Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. Speaking of underperforming, that was the next one that flamed to the discussion again of, our theater's dead?
Yeah.
This movie had no reason, again, so good.
Very good.
Chris Hemsworth, I nominated for an award just for his performance. He was a bad guy, villain, did a great job.
A funny villain.
Yeah, it just was. I mean, it just was everything. It was action packed, great cinematography. I mean, I love to watch action. George Miller's he's perfect at this. Where, I'm never at a point where I'm like, what's going on? Like, there's so many quick cuts.
Yeah,
it's just like
he's
motion sick.
He's a master of editing.
He is.
And he's also, for those that don't know this, George Miller is known for. So when you see these newer Mad Max films, very little is CGI.
Yeah,
very little. They actually choreograph these car scenes.
A lot of crashes, a lot of fire.
Yeah.
The next movie after that, as we kind of keep cruising through the year, some of these are no brainers. Inside Out 2 was a straight A for me. I mean, it's very rare. People get kind of, I don't know, they kind of thumb their nose sometimes at sequels. They're like, now we have any original content. Well, how is a sequel not original?
Never understood that critique.
Just because it's part of the same world doesn't mean it's not original.
Well, and also it's not like this. I mean, at a certain point, you could have a conversation about finite theater space and things like that. But we're nowhere near capacity.
Well, movies like Inside Out 2 that make
doesn't really take away from anything.
$1 billion worldwide. Those movies have to be made to be able to fund movies like The Bike Riders, which is the next movie.
Andor season 2.
Segue. Yeah. Segue that I gave an A to. It's interesting. I'm actually kind of disappointed in myself. And I may have to call for a special vote at the Utah Film Critics Association Awards.
You'd like to amend your ballot?
Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. I just, as I was thinking about movies and stuff, there's so many good performances over the last, 3 or 4 months that I completely forgot about Jodie Comer in The Bike Riders. She did so good.
Oh, I forgot about The Bike Riders. That was this year.
Yeah. Now, The Bike Riders wasn't to me.
And I left that off one of my... I had more fun seeing that movie, though.
Yeah.
Not fun maybe isn't the right word. I sat down, that movie happened, and I left, and it was like time just... Yeah. That was a good... That's what movies are supposed to do.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot that was this year.
I messed that up. I not messed it up, but I wish I... she's probably in my honorable mention. She's in my honorable mention. So
I really honestly did not even remember it was this year, though.
This just also shows, too, timing is sometimes everything. And I think The Bike Riders probably should have been a November movie.
Timing. Yeah.
That's an award season November movie. That's not a June 20th,
right. They released that right in summer blockbuster season.
Bad timing. Terrible placement by the studio. I also gave an 8 to A Quiet Place day one. That movie, again, underperformed. That movie is carried by Lupita Nyong'o.
So good.
Her acting is like interstellar. It's just out of this world, really.
She's great voice actress, too.
Yes, she's so good.
This year.
So good. The next movie I gave an A to was Long Legs. We spent a lot of time talking about this in the summer. Just a very...
Another example of how you can make something super scary without like a big monster
Booga.
Yeah. and well, I mean some violence, I guess.
Preys on your fears. Your
yeah.
I mean, there's a scene in Long Legs that the FBI agent, she kind of looks out. She thinks there's somebody out in her yard. It's very dark. She goes outside with her gun and flashlight. And the camera pans around, and it's just kind of one of those basic shots that you've seen in other movies
that you think is going to be predictable if you've seen a lot of horror movies.
And it pans around, and in the background you see out of focus somebody's in her house now. You know what I mean?
Just kind of like a shape going.
Yeah, super creepy.
Yeah, I love stuff like that though.
I gave an A to Deadpool and Wolverine. It was hard not to. It was one of those things that we've been waiting a long time for. Just that movie had almost honestly they had so much. It was packed full. Like when you
almost too much.
Yeah, when you go on a trip and you're like, you're sitting on your suitcase really just trying to make it close. That's the visual representation of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
You're just like, oh, come on, one more cameo. But it wasn't
the opening scene with the bones and so perfect the way everything about all three movies, the way they send up everything.
Yes.
And then one thing I will say though, Deadpool 3 was the first one that you really needed to be a Marvel fan to get every joke.
Yeah, I think so.
You had to know
there was
everything that happened in every Marvel movie.
I feel like I'm a fan, and I was like, hey,
and some of the Marvel
what's going on?
There's even a pretty long running joke in Deadpool 3 that was based on a movie Marvel wants you to forget they made.
Yes.
Chris Evans shows up, but not as Captain America.
No,
that's
you're right.
hilarious to me. But yeah, I saw it with someone that had only seen like the Avengers films, nothing else, and she. There were a lot of times that she wasn't laughing because she didn't understand. Like when Chris Evans shows up and the way he shows up, the theater erupted in laughter, and she didn't get it, and I couldn't explain it because we're in the movie.
Well, couple things too, just a few other. So as we keep going down, I said Long Legs, Deadpool, Wolverine, Alien Romulus, another A from me.
Yeah,
just a nice return to kind of
that first Alien.
Yeah.
That kind of creepy and scary.
Mm-hmm. Then Challengers. Did you see Challengers?
No, actually, that's on my list. So I have a list of movies I missed in 2024 that I didn't want to. And Challengers is one.
That movie messed with my head. It's got...
I just like everyone in it.
Yeah, it's a great cast.
That's why I wanted to see it.
Great cast, but it messes with your head so much because it's got that like kind of anxiety and anticipation of like a of a sports movie. Pardon me.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm good, but I'm just so verklempt because of my love of Challengers.
Verklempt.
But it also has.
I can talk while you choke.
No, I'm good now. It also has that kind of this romantic tension as well, and so you've got these two like lanes of tension in this movie that just editing's great, soundtrack. I mean, soundtrack like it's songs.
I did get to know the. You gonna be all right? Do you need a beverage? It always hits when you're in the middle of the July to August portion of your best of the year. No, I'm trying to find my list of movies I didn't get a chance to see that I wanted to. I know that was on it, and there were three others.
Well, let me ask you, did you see Saturday Night?
No, that was one, again, that I wanted to see. The Saturday Night Live fictional or fictionalized true story.
I gave that an A. That was fantastic. Again, I had put that, I think, on my ballot for ensemble cast because it was hard to pick one performance.
That just came and went so fast. I missed it.
Again, yeah, people say, well, there's no original content. Well, you missed that one.
Yeah, I think that was only in theaters for like a week here in Logan.
Yeah, it wasn't for a long time. There was also another movie. Did you see Monkey Man?
Yes. I
gave that an A. That was fantastic.
I did actually see Monkey Man.
The Wild Robot.
Didn't expect to like that one.
Yeah.
That was another surprise.
Well, and that's actually directed by Dev Patel. Not only acted in, but directed. So that was kind of cool to see him sort of take the helm.
Yeah.
The Wild Robot, I give a straight A to. That was not only on my Best Picture nomination list, but also my Best Animated Film.
Again with the Lupita Nyong'o.
Yes, again, driven. That voice cast, we need to start giving more attention to voice acting and to, like, when we're doing motion capture and things like that.
There were some unexpecteds on there because I thought the guy who voices the main character, supporting main character, the baby duck, I thought that was some of the best voice acting I'd seen in a long time. So I went and looked this person up, and a relative nobody.
Yeah.
Like just
100%.
He was in a Netflix series that was super, super popular on Netflix. But other than that, he's just done a few plays, and that was some good casting.
To kind of round out, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these other ones, but I'm just going to start listing some movies here.
Okay.
As we're kind of slowing down and winding out of time for today's show. But some of the rest of my A's for the year: Wicked, The Substance with Demi Moore. I can't recommend that.
Forgot about that too.
It is.
That was
gooey.
Yeah,
be prepared. But it's good.
Yeah, really good.
Heretic with Hugh Grant, the Mormon missionary.
Yeah,
that was one of the most original kind of creepy, scary movies I've seen in a while.
I didn't think he'd be able to pull off creepy like that.
He does a good job.
I really thought it's Hugh Grant. There's no way he'll be able to do it, and he did.
Yeah,
and it's not over the top creepy either.
No,
that's a good movie.
Another one that is kind of under the radar is a movie with Jude Law called The Order, about a FBI agent facing. It's a true story. I did not know this until after I saw it.
I didn't know that.
Facing off against white supremacist Nazi kind of people over in surprise.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Northern Idaho. There's another movie. We've talked about this one before. Andrew Garfield, Florence Pugh, We Live in Time. I gave that an A.
Also one that I thought should have maybe been bigger.
Mm-hmm. Nosferatu got an A from me. Conclave. There's a movie streaming on Netflix right now called His Three Daughters. Can't recommend that enough. Just fantastic movie. Love Lies Bleeding. I wasn't sure how I watched. I didn't see this in theaters. It was streaming on HBO Max or whatever you want to call it, HBO Max, and I just thought it was so. I think I actually nominated it for Best Original Screenplay in our awards because it was just so clever.
That fits.
Music by John Williams. If you haven't seen that documentary on Disney Plus, I would highly recommend that. I gave that an A. I mean, that was just a tour through my childhood.
That's another one that I missed.
Yeah,
I forgot about music.
That's if you have Disney Plus, check that one out. It's so good.
That's on Disney Plus now.
Yep.
I've been trying to Google as you've been listening here. Most of these are available somewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
Most of what you've mentioned.
A few more that I gave A's to. I gave an A to The Brutalist. That's actually one that made our nominee list for Best Pictures. In fact, all of the Best Picture ones that are on our Utah Film Critics nominations, The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, The Substance, Tuesday with Julia Louis-Dreyfus is just will pull your heart out.
Yeah.
The Wild Robot made our top. I think actually we did 6 this year because we had a tie. Anora is one that I was actually a little disappointed didn't make our best picture list. It was one of my top 5.
Really good.
Yeah, it's just basically like the 2024, I would say, TikTok generation's Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
It's really good. September 5th got an A from me. There's another movie that I'm not sure where you can see this, but it's called Sing Sing. That's just Coleman Domingo. So good. And I think actually, yeah, we nominated him for Best Lead Performance from a Male.
Actually, that's the first one you mentioned that isn't streaming somewhere.
Yeah, check Sing Sing out if you can. I'm sure that'll probably come closer somewhere during Oscar season. A few other movies, Hard Truths, The Piano Lesson, that's on Netflix right now. Amelia Perez, weirdest movie I've ever seen, but really in recent memory, it's a musical on Netflix. Check it out. It's actually in Spanish, but it's got like Selena Gomez. It's got I'm trying to think who else. Anyway, it's worth watching. Nickel Boys is another one that I hope makes it to Amazon Prime pretty soon. We talked about that. I read that book.
I think I saw an ad for that one.
Yeah, that's a straight A for me.
It's a good book too, if you want to.
A couple documentaries, 3 more documentaries I'll flow out here, or I'll flow out.
Amazon next month.
Yeah, I'll throw out here 3 more documentaries. Sugarcane, Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve story, and Will and Harper, which I believe is on Netflix.
Yeah.
Those are great documentaries.
Oh, Nickel Boys is on Apple TV right now.
Okay. There's a few other foreign films too that we don't really talk about foreign films a lot because they don't really make it to Cache Valley.
Yeah.
But these will be things that you should be able to stream at some point. 3 that I would highly recommend is All We Imagine Is Light. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets nominated for both Best Foreign Film and also Best Picture.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty great. I'm Still Here is a movie out of Brazil that is it's one of the best that I've seen since City of God in 2003. I don't know if you ever saw that movie out of Brazil. It's just really, really good. And then another one that I had not heard.
Is this a comedy? All We Imagine Is Light?
No, it's not a comedy.
The plot makes it sound like it could be a comedy.
The other one that I would say is worth checking out if you can when it comes on streaming is I can't remember if this is. I think it's French. Yeah, it's French. It's called Red Rooms. I don't know if you've seen this. Yeah, it was released. Let's see. I think it was released in Canada and other places in 2023, but this is like a 2024. This is in our 2024 because it had a U.S. release date, and it is something else.
Wow.
I don't know if
just
you're
reading the subtitles on the trailer here, and that kind of shocked me right at the first.
Yeah,
what the person's charged with.
Yeah, and it's there. The end will leave you kind of speechless a little bit. Yeah,
that is interesting. I'm gonna have to see this though.
Yeah,
I'm always intrigued by movies like this.
Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much that came out in September. That was the U.S. release date was in September. So
okay.
Yeah, it was. I mean, again, I have a different perspective because I see a lot more movies than probably the average person does. I feel like I land in a good place because I don't see enough to become numb to the quality and creativity that exists in the film industry today.
That makes sense.
But I see enough that I think that people that make the comment have been that that there's nothing original.
Yeah.
That there's I 100% disagree with that statement. It's just
people not looking hard enough.
Yeah, and it's access. But those movies are there and available for you to watch if.
Yeah, every one of those except 2 that you mentioned, Red Rooms and I forget the other one now. There was another one you mentioned. That
Sing Sing.
Sing Sing. Those were the only two that weren't on a streaming service already or coming soon.
Yeah. And we are living in the golden age of content. Don't pay attention to what the box office says. I mean, there are so many things. I mean, we're talking about movies. We haven't even talked about series. We haven't talked about the things that are coming out. You know, I mean, this next in 2025, you've got Severance.
Yeah.
You've got the second season of 1923. You know, we're talking about, and that's just the thing. That's not even talking about the things that came out in 2024.
And Disney's promising a big year for Star Wars.
Yeah, Skeleton Crew is really well received.
I
haven't watched it yet, just because I haven't watched any TV during screener season.
I liked Skeleton Crew. I mean, it's for kids, and it kind of has that old school Star Wars feel to it.
Yeah, I will really quick before we wrap up, because I know we only have a couple minutes left. Next week, there are a few movies that will be out in theaters wide that were released in limited. Better Man, the one we were talking about, you and I, during a break with Robbie Williams, is basically his life story, but it's like Planet of the Apes.
He's huge in England.
Yeah, not one of my favorite of 2024, but that releases this Friday, January 10th. And The Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, is also releasing wide on January 10th. That's about it.
Gerard Butler with the wrong accent.
Yeah, we're going to start gearing up.
That's your thing.
Start gearing up for Sundances, and we'll talk about our awards.
When's the new Guy Ritchie one?
Oh, God.
Is that a ways off?
I think that's a ways off.
Okay. That is, speaking of this, Andy mentioned it, I mentioned it, The Fall Guy actually hit Amazon Prime yesterday. So there you go. No excuse not to see that one. That's the movie show for this week, and we have officially recapped 2024, looked ahead a little bit at 2025, and Andy will be back with us next Friday at 5 for more. Please stick around. Dave Ramsey is next here on KVNU Logan.